7 o'clock. So we're gonna get started. It is Wednesday, June 18th, and we are back to once again all kind of share in the joy of PDH, Pauper Commander. This week, Taylor and I have a new puppy in the house. The puppy is currently napping with Taylor, so will not be making an appearance. But in honor of this and all the other fine puppies, puppers, dogs out there, we're going to brew a brand new Pauper Commander deck around one fine Hound, Torgal, from the new Magic Gathering Final Fantasy set. It's a really cool card. Mono green, back to my comfort zone a little bit, not being too adventurous with things. So this is one of my favorite spaces to brew, especially in this format. In Commander, I'm very cool on green, but in Pauper Commander, green is pretty sick. So what we're going to do is we're going to brew an entire deck based around this awesome card here. So we're going to read through it first and get some initial thoughts here. So Torgal is a 2/2 for 2, so a grizzly bear, which is fine. Grizzly bears are sweet. But it has rules text. Whenever you cast your first human creature spell each turn, the creature enters with an additional 1/1 counter for each dog and or wolf you control. And then the second ability, it taps out a mana of any color. That's less important, but it's valuable. This ability here is pretty sick. So what it wants us to do is build primarily a human-focused deck with some dogs or wolves sprinkled in there to increase the amount of counters that we get. So we get to do some kindred stuff, we get to do some counter stuff, we get to do some proliferate stuff. There's a lot of things that we're going to be kind of dipping our toes into, all while kind of trying to stay true to the fundamentals of building like a mono green creature-based PDH deck, in terms of like draw spells and removal spells and things like that, kind of adapting those suites of cards to what we're doing. So without further ado, we're gonna get started here. Let's look for some. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is get in the changelings. I know when it comes to kindred decks, people kind of hate on changelings, like leaning on changelings for kindred decks, and I understand it. In Pauper Commander, it's a little bit more important because certain creature types are throttled a little bit more than others. So sometimes you need to you just need to reach like a certain critical mass of cards. But for these sorts of commanders like this one, or Sid, the from also Final Fantasy, the one that cares about heroes and artificers, I think. Changelings are really cool when you care about two overlapping creature types. The synergy plays out really fun. It's pretty sick to watch it work. It's a lot more it's a lot cooler than just like trying to pad your numbers, like trying to reach a certain amount of cards that you might need, which is becoming like less and less a problem, right? Like if you want to play a merfolk deck, there's more than enough merfolk to fill out a deck. Playable merfolk, same thing with like vampires, elves, goblins, all that stuff. You never really need to like rely on changelings that much anymore. They just become very good if you care about more than one creature type. In this one, we care about like humans first and like dogs and wolves second, because Torgal on its like in a vacuum will always provide that first one counter because it is a wolf itself. So just having this card on the battlefield makes your first human creature enter with the counter. It only goes up from there. So we're gonna add in some changelings because these things are sweet, and we got some great ones like a good place on the curve recently. Like these 5 mana ones, I'm less high on, but these 6 that are very affordable, we're probably gonna play. We might play these if we're trying to boost our numbers, but like at this point, if you've been watching long enough, you know that I'm kind of hesitant when it comes to like spells over 4 mana value. In Pauper Commander, it's a lot different than normal Commander, right? Like our high mana value spells aren't as splashy or powerful or like game warping as they are in Commander. So when it comes to like paying that amount of mana, making sure you have enough ramp to get to them, like these sorts of cards that are not terribly impressive require a lot of infrastructure to really shine. And a lot of times I don't think it's worth it. But in this case, we're going to do a bunch of these. So let's say Guardian Gladewalker. Guardian Gladewalker is great because it kind of also just counter stuff. And to ETB, put a counter on something. Maxed Vandal is a great one too. It's a removal spell, or a naturalize on a changeling. It's going to see like really good in a lot of different shells. Big fan of that one. Woodland Changeling, just a grizzly bear, but very serviceable and exactly the kind of thing that we want. It's basically just a 2/2 human wolf dog. Like that's, that, and these things count for themselves. So like if you cast a woodland changeling, you know, it itself will get counters in addition to like adding to the number that of counters that further humans will get. So you double dip. Double dipping is like really powerful. Universal Automaton is like one of my favorite cards in the format. It's just good everywhere. Just a 1 mana 1/1 changeling, just like cheap, does a thing. It doesn't do anything on its own, but like the decks that you put it in, it's going to do something when you cast it. 3 true mascot. The rules text on these cards is largely irrelevant. We just want affordable ways to boost our count. Like 6 is pretty good. I mean, even in like I built a Sid deck, for example, an Azorius artifact creature aggro deck, and you do changes in that deck too because they're heroes and artificers, so they count towards your anthem for your board while also being buffed by said anthem. And you don't need a ton of them. You just need enough to maybe like the place where like this card gets really really good is if the first human spell you cast every turn gets 2+1/+1 counters. I think like 2 is a lot. Any more than that is gravy. I think with 6 and the 7th being here, so we just need our commander and any one of these, especially with the amount of cards that we'll have to like shoot through a library with various cantrips and draw spells. I think it's pretty reasonable to expect to have maybe 2. I don't think that's an unreasonable expectation. Like I said, if it becomes an issue, like we have these 2 bigger ones to add in. Yeah, I think this is good to start. Next thing we're gonna do. Let's look at wolves and dogs. I'm just curious. I don't know if we want to play a ton of these, just because they don't double dip, and I'm a sucker for value. But I am curious to see what there is. Hound has been errated to dog. Yeah, okay, good. Einot Guide is pretty good because it gets a, maybe like the utility focused ones. Like Einot Guide I think is fine. Like we're not doing a lot of mill stuff, so I'm not sure about that one. It's a morph thing. I don't really care about that. Yeah, none of these are like super compelling that I'd like want to go out of my way for. Spectral Hunt Caller is probably good. We'll probably play that one too. Yeah, probably just those 2. So we'll get a Spectral Hunt Caller. Spectral Hunt Caller is just like a good way. There's not a lot of like, but there's no overrun in the format. It is the simple way to put it. The closest thing is the card called You Meet in a Tavern, which lets you look at the top 5. It's like it's a choose one, lead the stampede, or give all your creatures +2/+2. And that's the closest you get. It doesn't give trample, it just kind of is a power toughness boost, +2/+2. Spectral Hunt Caller is an activated ability that gives everything +1/+1 in trample. And since we're gonna have a lot of counters, pretty large creatures, even one activation is going to be enough to kind of get the job done most of the time. And it also is a wolf for our commander here. So I think this card's like a very reasonable include. Maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll play Einot Guide. Let's put that in here. Just because, it adds a counter so we can proliferate or whatever we want to do. And also it can get us a land to put on top of our library, which is like not great, but if we're looking for a land, we can use it for that. Okay, let's just start with those, and now let's go to the humans. I think there's a lot of good humans. I built a lot of humans decks in Commander, in regular EDH, across pretty much every color combination. I really like human kindred decks, and the funny thing about doing searches like through the available humans is you run up on a lot of things that like you would never have thought of. Like, for example, we're just looking for things to put counters on. They don't need to be like particularly strong utility creatures. They just need to be like a body that's on rate. Because, for example, like a Target Beastbreaker is a good example of this. It's a 2-mana 2/2, so like a Grizzly Bear. But with our commander out, it's going to enter as a 3/3, and with another wolf out, it's going to enter as a 4/4. So we're like being very efficient with how much power we're getting. And we don't need to do a whole lot. Like, we probably have like the biggest thing on the battlefield most of the time, I imagine. It's like even something like a Target Beastbreaker is not out of the question, even though like it's not a particularly impressive card. I think like looking at cards on rate is a good way to approach this kind of commander. So let's sort it by mana value. This is always how I like to do it. Are there any good ones? Experiment 1 is great. It's a human. It cares about 1/1 counters. It's it can regenerate. Like this card is great. I'm a big fan of this card in general. And here there's a lot of synergy going on, which I like. Robo Maverick will probably do 2. Another like really great utility card that kind of plays the synergies that we want, right? Like when it dies, we can put a counter on something. We're going to play a lot of proliferate stuff, so like that's what we want to do, and it can smooth out the top of our library for 1 mana. It's a 1 mana 1/1. Again, like these are just gonna be very efficient cards. So we're gonna be double spelling with our creatures a lot. So like, for example, we can play we can play like our first creature will be this, 1/1 for 1 or whatever. It enters with like 2 counters, so it's a 3/3 for 1, and we have enough mana to cast a proliferate spell, cast a ramp spell, cast another creature if we just don't really care about getting the benefit from Torgal. Like if we just need another body, we can do that. Just ways to do a lot with our mana when we're being efficient with our creatures here. Servant of the Scale is obviously another great one. This is part of a suite of cards. There's a handful of these at common. Most of them are in white, but it is a 1/1 for 1. Well, it's a 0/0 for 1. It enters with a counter, and then when it dies, all its counters go somewhere else. So another like +1/+1 counter synergy. Simic Initiate is another one I kind of like actually, because this has Graft. So Graft is a keyword that doesn't get a lot of hype. It's not like that great, but it's another 1/1 counter synergy card. It's a 0/0 for 1, enters with a counter. So Graft, it enters with, it's Graft N, and it enters with N 1/1 counters. And then when another creature enters, you can move a counter from the Graft creature onto the creature that entered. So like if we put, counter on this, put a counter on it with Torgal, so it's got 2 counters. Then our next 2 creatures that enter the battlefield, we can move one from this onto it, so they just enter with an additional counter, which is pretty good. And then if we just proliferating, we can keep that going. So like this card's actually pretty sweet. Skargan Pit Skulk I like because it enters with a counter already, and it has evasion based on its power. So we'll try this one. It's a more indirect synergy with what we're doing, but like it's good. If we need to cut cards, this might be one that I look at, but I think on its face, this card's pretty powerful for the kind of strategy that we're going for. It scales really well. Woodland Druid. I love me a vanilla 1 mana 1/2. I'm not gonna lie, but maybe we'll overlook this for now. Atarka Beastbreaker, like I said, I kind of like. It has something. It has an activated ability that we can use for our mana. It gets +4/+4, which is pretty sick. And we're gonna have Formidable easily. I think, like I said, like rate is important, and a Grizzly Bear is just fine. Beast Rider Vanguard is a new one from Aether Drift. This is just like a really great card in general. Here it is. So Grizzly Bear stats again, so fine on that front. We're sold there. But you can pay 5 to look at the top 3 and keep a permanent. So again, like another really great way to use our mana when we're being efficient with our creatures, and draws us into more stuff. So like this card is again like a really great green card in a lot of decks. Perfect here. Let's see, Civic Gardener. I like this card, but I don't think I want to play it. Dauntless Survivor enters, puts a counter on something. Yeah, that's pretty cool. There's a couple of these, I think. Dauntless Survivor, Timberland Guide is another one. It's functional reprint. Dawnheart Disciple, 2/2 for 2. Whenever a human enters, gets 1/1 until end of turn. Yeah, play that one. This is a deck that's like going to get on the board and start doing its thing pretty early, which I am a big fan of in aggro decks, which is ostensibly what this is. Dawnheart, what is it called? Oh, Dawnheart with no E. They're tricking me. There we go. Yeah, and it just grows if we cast more creatures. It's pretty sick. I like that. Carenbrick Squire has no synergy. Like, Grizzly Bears that like do something are kind of the sweet spot for us. This one untaps a little creature land, so this one it kind of ramps us a little bit. Let's play Civic Gardener. I'm okay with this. This is a card that I just kind of like in general. More of a pet card than anything. But when it attacks, we just get to untap a land, so we can rebuy. We can cast like a spell before combat, cast a spell after combat, save our mana a little bit. Block becomes blocked. It gets bigger. Yeah, that's good. These are cards that like don't get a lot of attention, generally speaking. Like, it's a 2/2 for 2, so it's just a cozy bear. If it becomes blocked, it becomes a 3/3, but it's going to be bigger. So like it'll be a 3/3 that becomes a 4/4 when it's blocked. It's just tough. You know, it's you put people in situations where they have to make bad blocks a lot of the time. I'm on board with that, honestly. Soar from Hybrid, another 2/2 for 2 that scales. I like that. Oh, I guess we won't be able to adapt though if Ferrari's counters on it, right? Yeah, never mind. This one's out. Don't care. You lost me. Timberland Guide. Just the same thing as Dauntless Survivor, just a 2-mana 1/1 that enters, puts a counter on something. So the floor on this card is a 2-mana 2/2 because you can put the counter on itself. But you can put the counter elsewhere if there's a better place to put it. Ursine Champion. A little bit of a worse Atarka Beastbreaker. But that's a template that I kind of like, so I don't have a problem with that. Werebear and Woe's Pathfinder. I kind of like these cards. Do I want Mana Dorks, though? That's the thing. We'll come back to these. I'm not sold on if I need Mana Dorks. How many creatures do we have? 21? Definitely gonna want more creatures, though. The primary ways to, like, get significant card advantage in mono green is with things like Leap the Stampede, and you need really, like, you know, a density of creatures to make that card work. But let's see. Avenging Druid's pretty cool, but I don't like it that much. Borderland Ranger, you know what, let's put a Borderland Ranger here. Just gets us a land. I know I was talking about rate, but like, where's a Borderland Ranger? Just a 3-mana 2/2 puts land into our hand. This card always overperforms for me. Maybe it's just me, I don't know. Hey Bill, welcome to the chat. Champion of Doosan is the next one we're gonna do here. So 3-mana 4/2 trample, we can exile from our yard to put a counter on something and a trample counter. This card I like a lot. Again, like I'm a big fan of like green graveyard decks, and this is a great card for those decks. Great card here, as far as I'm concerned, at least. Horizon Seeker's interesting. What's this? So it's a 4/2 on our turn, 2/4 elsewhere. Maybe Horizon Seeker. I like them. Again, like since we're front loading a lot of our mana values, once the game goes on, we're gonna have a lot of mana to work with, and creatures with like good solid like attacking creatures with activated abilities, I think is like a pretty safe place to be. More things that get us lands. These mill though. We're not doing like a lot of graveyard stuff, so I'm hesitant to just like mill over cards to get lands, especially when we like don't really need to go out of our way. Our curve's not going to be super out of control. Trusted Force Mage is interesting. It's a soul bond card. Gives it and the creature it's bonded with +1/+1. Yeah, let's play Trusted Force Mage. I like this card. Tuskar Captain is like the easiest windmill slam ever. Everything with a low one counter is trample. This card's like good everywhere, but even better here because it's a human. Love me my humans. So Verdant Outrider is interesting because if this enters with a counter, it if it was a 5/3, can be brought by creatures with power 2 or less. So it's at least going to trade with something if it blocks, or if it is blocked, I should say. Huh. It's kind of a 3/3 for 3 vanilla. Is that good enough? Probably. 3/3 for 3. Do I just play War Historian and Perimeter Patrol? Let's put them in. Maybe I cut them, because the Power Stone from the Patrol doesn't matter. Well, I guess it does, because, right, you can use a Star Activated ability. Oh, no, this is not a Power Stone card. This is just whenever an artifact enters it. We're not going to have many artifacts, so that's probably blank. 3/3 for 3 with Reach. The Battle ability does not matter. 28 creatures. Gonna need some more. Let's go up to 4s. 4 is kind of where I start to draw the line a little bit. Garenbrig Carver. Ooh, Intrepid Provisioners I kind of like. Okay, let's see. So we could do, because it's a combat trick. Not the worst. We're gonna play Interpreters though. So this ETBs gives something +2/+2. It also is a base 3/3 trample. It's pretty cool. I like that. Menagerie Liberator is insane. I don't know if anyone's played with this card or not, but it gets real big. Melee. So if you attack this just to one player, and one creature to each of the other ones, it gets +3/+3. So like without any buffs from Torgal, it's going to be a 6/5 trample for 4. And even bigger with 1/1 counters. Don't really care about these transform cards. Koldiah Strongarm, we can blitz. That's pretty cool. I like blitz. Let's play Koldiah Strongarm. What are we at? 31. I need more. I'm gonna have to go back and find more cards. We have to expand our scope a little bit. Oh, I like this. Altegard Ranger. It's a human that makes a wolf. Yeah, let's do that one. We're gonna have to play some ramp spells, I think. Actually, you know what? We'll play the Mana Dorks. Okay, that's probably a more elegant solution. So we'll get Werebear and Woe's Pathfinder as just like 2 additional things. So 2 mana, 1/1 human, out of mana of any color. Werebear grows if you have Threshold, but it's a Mana Dork, 2 mana, 1/1. It's probably good. Okay, this is where the road ends. So let's go back down here and make sure I'm not missing anything that I like. Soulbond for Reach. Paladin Plot. Five, 4. Let's try Spinewood's Paladin. I like the idea of plotting it for 4 and getting like a 6/5 trample for 4 mana, or for like, I guess, free when you pass the turn. But I don't want any of the werewolves. Woodland Sleuth is interesting. Rebuys a thing at random. No, I don't want a 4 mana 2/3. Gravel Hunter is a 3/4. Okay. Oh, Jukai Preserver is pretty good. This is one where you can channel it to put a counter on 2 things. Where is it? Or when it enters, it puts a one counter on 1 thing. And it's a hill giant, so that's good. Okay, what are we at? 36. So we're getting kind of close here. Man, I wish this wasn't a Daybound card. I just hate Daybound Nightbound. Oh, Woodland Patrol's good. The Vigilance 2 or 3/2 for 3. That one hits criteria. Longshot Squad is not a human, so I don't care about him. I want as many humans and wolves as possible and nothing else, I think. Social Climber will play 2, 3 power, 3 mana creature. We got the one that matters. We got Tuskar Captain. That's the one that matters. This card's not as good. Hyrax Tower Scout. 3 mana, 3/3. I'm on board. Neshin Courser. Oh, he's a dog, isn't it? Okay, you talked me into it. Not sure how I didn't see it on my first go through, but that's fine. That's a good catch, Bill. Good call. I take everything back. Byway Career. How many 3-drops do I have? 11, 16 twos. Okay, so like 50's a curve. I can probably play like 1 or 2 more 3-drops. Okay, let's play the Argothian Opportunist. That's the Power Stone one. We have a lot of active abilities, so the card is certainly not bad or dead in any respect. Byway Courier is good too. It replaces itself with a Clue, which I don't hate. This one has an activated ability that is completely irrelevant. I guess it can give itself 1/1 counter and trample, but less cool, less high on that. And then we'll go back through here, just make sure I'm not Missing anything? Whisper of the Wilds. It's a 0/2. This is like a good second human though, right? Like we play one to get the counters and we just have this one as backup for as like a 0/2. That's like what these things are good at. Yeah, let's do that. Whisper of the Wilds is fine. All right, 43. We're getting up to like a reasonable number. I love high creature counts, so we'll pack as many of them as we can. Scorned Villager. This one I like more than the Daybound Nightbound stuff. This is always going to add mana, and it's always going to come down as a human. So let's play Scorned Villager. This is also one that if it transforms, it can attack. Even if it doesn't, like, it's fine. I'm okay with that. Sylvok Explorer. Yeah, I think just like throwing a bunch of like Manadors in here is good too. Worth trying at least. Yeah, I mean, got a colorless for all I care. I'm not gonna do Snowlands because we're trying to maintain a budget. Right now we're at $7, $7.50 on mana pool. Yeah, I'm not using TCG Player at the moment. TCG Player kind of sucks. Warreef Invoker is not bad. Nightshade Peddler is not bad. Humble Naturalist. Humble Naturalist I actually quite like. In a lot of decks, not just this one, but... Okay. I don't want to get too out of control here. So we'll probably wind it down and get on to the other stuff. Was it almost 7:30? Yeah, we gotta get going. Alright. What are we at? 46. Let's put an Warreef Invoker and then we'll be done. What if I don't play a Ferocious Pup? I'll try it. Okay. Alright, 48 creatures. That's reasonable. Reasonable. Visual Spoiler. I'm just going to order some things here. Value. Okay, so you can kind of see our spread. And we've got, let's see, 2 dogs, 3 wolves, so 5 plus the changelings, so 11. That's good. And then the rest are humans. Not bad. I like that. Okay. So a couple things. Look at some forests in here, and then we'll start talking about non-creature spells. Add more. This is going to be like a 34 lander because our commander's a mana dork. I think that's a fine, or 35, sorry. I think that's fine. Start there. And let's put in Lead the Stampede and Yumina Tavern. And Winding Way. These are like the 3 cards that are gonna like get you more, possibly net you more than one thing. This is 2 mana. Look at the top 4. You choose lands or creatures, put everything of that type in the top 4 into your hand. Lead the Stampede looks at the top 5. Yumina Tavern looks at the top 5. Put all the creatures into your hand. So these can draw you, you know, anywhere between 1 and 5 cards. In this deck, it'll probably end up being 2 more often than not. So like a Divination, which ain't bad. But because we're like, this is a deck that cares a lot about having specific balances of creatures, because you definitely want wolves to go along with your humans. So things like Adventure Awaits are going to be really good here. Green has a lot of ways to dig and cantrip. Adventure Awaits is like a really great example of this. It's a 2 mana spell. Look at the top 5, reveal a creature card, put it into your hand, rest on the bottom. So you can take 5 deep and you can pick whatever you want out of them. It's not. It's better than just like drawing a random card, right? Like it's a cantrip, but you have a lot more agency in terms of what you're doing. There's a few that look at the top 5 that I really like, and I don't really want the ones that put things in. Well, I guess we could put these in the graveyard. It doesn't really make a huge difference, right? So we want Commune with Nature. Looks at the top 5 for 1 mana. Get creature. This one is a little bit different because if you don't get a creature, you can draw a card, but this one's just like 1 mana with the top 5. It's kind of the best one in my opinion. You also have a number of other ones, so I can't remember the names of all of them, but there's some that scry. Oh, you know, we'll do the scry ones. Track down and Elvish something. Can't remember the name of it. Let's search for green cards that care about scrying. Oh no, whoops, they still have a creature type in here. Whoops. Okay. Where is it? Elven Farsight. So this one you scry 3, reveal the top. If it's a creature, you can draw it. What did I say it was called again? Elven Farsight. Green, like scrying and surveilling in green is really good. Because again, like we don't have a lot of ways to like set the top of your library. You end up just like blowing past things. Like you look at the top 5, take 1, rest on the bottom. You just kind of go through like that. So if you don't want to find yourself in a position where you are just like, you know, losing things, putting things on the bottom that you might otherwise want to keep, you can kind of mitigate that by playing cards that scry, like Track Down or Elven Farsight, where you can set the top of your library rather than just like putting everything on the bottom. Track Down is similar to Farsight, 2 mana, scry 3, reveal a top card. If it's a creature or land, you get to draw it. This one, especially, it's a creature, you draw it, but they both do the same thing. Like Path of Ancestry. Does have a fair amount of wolves, right? Oh, well, I don't like a land coming to play tap, though. If it was a human, then I would definitely play it, because we're triggering it like every turn. But I guess if we play Path of Ancestry, it's scrying at least 1 if we draw it on turn 1 with this. How many scries are we looking to get out of it in a game? Maybe like 2 or 3? I'll think about it. Okay. Alright, then we want a handful of removal spells. So there are a lot of cards like Bite Down, but Ram Through is going to be the best one always. This is one where you have a creature. One of your creatures deal damage equal its power to another creature. If your creature has trample, the excess damage is dealt to the player. So if you have a huge thing, it just domes somebody. We'll play a few more. Some of them have restrictions. We'll play... Oh, I can't remember all of them. Deals damage. With the instants. There's some sorceries that do this too, but I like the instants better, obviously. Yeah, I like Master's Rebuke, Piercing Exhale, Here's My Dragon. Since we have Changelings, this one's probably good. So we'll play that one. We're not gonna play a ton of these. We just want to have like some ways to interact. Yeah, we're gonna get into the proliferate stuff pretty soon here. I just want to kind of get some nuts and bolts in here first. Run Over cares about mounts and vehicles. Again, since we have changelings, they're a mount, so let's do that. It's just a fun synergy. Like it may not matter, but it's fun if you get to do it. And then there are some ones that care about +1/+1 encounters, like Titanic Brawl. It's a fight spell. So this is one, it costs 1 less if you have a creature with a 1/1 counter and target creature control fights at instant speed. This card is great. And then there is another one that I want to play as well. I can't remember the name of it though. We'll just look for fight spells. Mutant's Prey. Yeah, target creature you control with 1/1 counter fights another creature for 1 mana. Again, like really efficient stuff. Gift of the Viper. I don't think I care about Gift of the Viper. Bushwhack's a good suggestion too. Just because it's modal. Yeah, I like modal cards. Bushwhack, let's put in a Bushwhack. Alright, and now we're going to look at some proliferate stuff. Just like the essentials, right? And keep it simple. Alright, so there's a lot of good ones. Smell Fear, Encouraging Crisis, and Thirsting Roots are like the big 3 for me, if we're talking about like non-creature cards. It's going to end up that like proliferating is so powerful that we're going to even want to play like Adaptive Spore Singer, Vorak, Palm Break Druid, all these like cards that don't provide any other hour synergies with our commander. They just put so much power on the board when they enter. It's insane. We'll also play Carnivorous Canopy, why not? But we got Encouraging Crisis, we want Thirsting Roots, and we want Smell Fear. I'm just going to play a ton of these. Oh, I'm at 100 cards already. Which look at that. So we're going to have to cut something. Let's cut. We'll cut the bushwhack. We'll cut. We'll cut the far sight and the track down. We'll just like have this. We'll just have the 5 draw spells. That seems fine. I'd rather have more like proliferate stuff. I got the smell fear, right? Yeah. Pollen bright druid. What else? Vorak and Spore Singer. Like the 3-mana ones that kind of do other things. Vorak, for example, if you don't, you can put a land from the top like 3 cards of your library into your hand. If you don't, you can proliferate. So it's kind of modal that way, which is sweet. Spore Singer is similar. You can give a thing +2/+2 vigilance or proliferate. That's almost always going to be proliferate. Okay, so we can try this. We've got 50 creatures, perfect. We've got like some really cool synergistic removal. We've got some good draw spells. We've got some good interaction. We've got some good proliferating stuff, and a lot of humans and some wolves. Okay, so let's take this out for a spin. We'll just keep it with 35 for us for the time being. That way all our lands enter untapped. And what are we looking at here? Source curve, sorry. I've got 6 1-drops, 22 2s. Okay, this is good. All right, so we're just gonna give the old roulette here and take it in for a spin. All right, so we've got a 2 and 2 3s and a 1. Okay, so this is a sick hand. So turn 1, well, that's a great one too. We'll draw. We'll just like fire this off now. So we've got top 5. 1 2 3 4 5. Automaton is the best one by far. Put these on the bottom to get the automaton, and we're off to turn 2. This is where we're just going to establish our Torgal. A very fine hound. A fine hound. All right. And next turn we're going to be able to do some cool stuff. So, oh yeah, this is going to be sick. So what we could do is, let's see. We can cast like one thing. I'm going to hold. I kind of want to play this though. I really need some non-creature thing to do here, but what we can do is cast this. See, this is actually a tough decision because I could play this and it would get 2 counters, right? Because trigger human on the stack enters. For each dog and wolf, I get 2, so it enters a 3/3. And then I could cast Vorak if I wanted to, or what I can do is I can cast like a 3-drop and then like get this online next turn and just add more power. I kind of like that. So let's go 1 2 3. We'll cast the social. Actually, Perimeter Patrol is going to see because we're going to play Artifact and it's going to get +1 power. So we'll cast this. I have 1 wolf, so it's going to enter with a counter. We got our 4/4. Seems good. Okay. Turn. Whoop. Hello. We skipped turn 5. How do I? Okay. Turn 4. We'll pretend that's on top. We're gonna play our land. Got 5 mana, so now we can do this. I got 2 wolves, interest 2, and then we can do this and do this. Attack for 9. 10 rather, because it gets +1/+1. Oh no, we're attacking for 6 rather with this. It gets a +1 power from the artifact entering, and then another counter from the Vorak, and now we've got 2 wolves. So this turn we can, let's see. It's actually turn 5, but you get the idea. Kind of like Dawnheart Disciple because of how well this scales with triggers here. So we got 2 wolves gonna enter with 2 counters. This seems pretty fun. I like this. Then we can attack with like this, and this. This thing's kind of looks like irrelevant. We can even cast like something else if we want to that just doesn't get counters, which might be fine. Like if we want to do, like a Force Mage and Soul Bond it with you know, like this thing for an extra +1/+1. Or we can just like represent, removal here. All right, and the next turn, now we're on turn 6. Or we could just like do Force Mage now. So this enters with 2 counters. We've got, this gets 1/1 because we have a human enter. Let's just guess another one. Just like really juice this guy. Whoops. It's like 4/4, 5/5, 6/6. And now we have Fight Spell. A lot of counters. And like more stuff to do. A lot of lands coming up. Maybe I can cut a land. Yeah, let's cut a land. And we'll put back in, what's the name of the stupid card? The Far Side. It's like a 1-mana cantrip. Okay, let's go back in. Let's dive back in here. All right, this hand is less good, but not bad because this is a mandatory. So draw, and I'm going to hold off on the Pit Skulk too. All right, so turn 1 not going to do anything. Turn 2, I'm going to cast our commander. There he is. Turn 3, the Bark from Harvester enters a 2. And then, yeah, I'm going to save that. Okay, that's pretty sick. So what we can do now is we can cast our Eltegard Ranger. So we get a trigger from this that has to resolve before entering. So, okay, so enters with counter. So I don't think you can stack the triggers, right? Because this trigger has to resolve when you cast the spell, and so it just enters with the counters. It doesn't like put a trigger on the stack to add the counters. So we're just going to get 2 counters on this, which is fine. It's also going to make us a wolf. So now we have 3 wolves. Inside of you there are 3 wolves. And now we can attack for 4, whatever. Next turn, oof, this is sick. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to, like, you know, let's go to combat, whatever. We'll deal some damage to somebody, so we get like a Bloodthirst trigger here. And then we're just going to cast this Pit Skulk. It's going to enter with 1, 2, 3 counters, 4 because of Bloodthirst. And then we're going to cast Thirsting Roots and proliferate. Seems good. And then we're just going to cast our Spore Singer and proliferate. Seems good. So now I've got these huge guys and like this thing and a handful of cards that are good. I can proliferate again. I want to definitely play a human first though. So what we can do, I kind of just want to hard cast this Koldai Strong Arm. I could blitz it, which is pretty cool. Which means you sacrifice it on end step and draw a card. We could just put 2 counters on something for you know, shits and gigs, as it were. Or we can just like cast this Byway Courier. So this would be enter as a 6/5. This would, you know, let's just hard cast the Strong Arm, because what this does is this will enter with 3 counters. Whoops, hello. Whoops. I'm gonna reset the power topics here. So enters with 3 additional counters, so 5, 6, and then as a trigger, put 2 counters on target creature. We can pick like, you know, our commander, I guess, or doesn't really matter. We're just gonna like spread out more power for next proliferate. So let's put it on Torgal, just so he's, you know, a 4/4 instead of a 2/2 that can easily be destroyed. And now on this turn, that guy's pretty sick. I was gonna proliferate, but I kind of want to do this instead. Let's put a counter on this. I have four wolves and dogs. And proliferate. Right. Or we can just like do this, and this enters with 4 counters. I mean, if we don't need to proliferate, why do it, right? We just have huge beaters. Yeah, 4 shear's fine. Let's just get this guy out here, and we have a huge board of bangers. Nothing can block this thing. Yeah, this is sick. Turn 8, we've got giant stuff. All right, let's try this again. Hand is not as good. We need a land. We need a land. But you know what? I have faith. Nope. That's okay. We don't need to do anything until turn 2 anyway. Next turn. Yeah, we're done. We're dead. Okay. This hand is better. Have a mana dork. Some stuff to do. Okay, cool. Turn 1. That's a great card. You love to see this. This card is really fun. Really impressive to resolve. I don't know how much y'all have experience with You Meet in a Tavern, but it's a hoot. Again, I'm going to hold on to the Pit Skull because we can put some extra counters on to make it hard to block. Next turn, Horizon Seeker's pretty sick. I like that. Let's get the Torgal the Fine Hound out there. And now we have 3 mana available. We can kind of set up a little bit. It's tough because, you see, this is a great second spell, but not a good first one. But I need the mana. But what I'm going to do, let's just get the Horizon Seeker out. You know, this card is good. It'll get us some lands, which is totally fine. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to attack. Gonna boast. Gonna get a forest. Gonna play this forest post combat. Gonna cast us a. Cast a Skulk and pick Skulk. Might be a good time to play the Skulk, but you know what? We're just gonna cast out this Humble Naturalist. Whoops. Just get a counter on it. Why not? Now I can cast more stuff. A lot of mana dorks. Okay, so this time we can actually like get around this issue that we're having. So you know, go to combat, whatever. Let's leave this up. So you know, boom. Don't want to block a 4/3. We're not going to boast, but we're going to deploy this. So it enters with 2 counters, one for Bloodthirst, one for the Wolf. Yeah. Okay. And then we can just like, we've got 4 mana left, so we can deploy this. So like, let's see. So we've got our attackers right here, and we've got our mana guys over here. So we have now all of a sudden we have access to a lot of mana, which is great. And we've got like some decent attackers. This thing's hard to block. You know, this thing is a 4/3. Not like the best, most impressive board right now, but we have a lot of mana available. We have 7 mana right now. So what we can do, let's just cast like the Strong Arm, put 2 counters on its, put them here. I'll put a counter from the Wolf on here. Unfortunately, Werewolf doesn't count. But this is all fine. And then we can cast a 2-drop. Let's just get this Timberland Guide out here. We'll put another counter on the Strong Arm. So we have like some decent attackers now. I kind of just want to roll the dice a little bit and cast this You Meet in a Tavern. So we're just to look for creatures. So we're going to draw 3. War Historian, Barkworm Harvester, Werebear. Exactly kind of stuff we were looking for. We're gonna pay 2, 3 and cast the Barkworm Harvester. Oh, these go on the bottom. Barkworm Harvester, I've got 2 wolves, so we enter with 2. And now everything's gonna be bigger going forward, which is sick. Right, Timberland Guy doesn't really matter, he's inconsequential at this point. So now everything we play from here on out is gonna be like pretty serious. It's like we get this Menagerie Liberator out, for example. 1, 2, 3, 4. Enters with 2 counters. This is with like no proliferation. Like it's still not like embarrassing, right? We still got a ton of stuff. We still got 4 mana to spend. So let's get actually get the Werebear out there. How's the Wear Out Bear, as they say? as like another mana dork. We've got 2 mana left. Okay, so we're just gonna go next turn. Ram through. That's pretty great. So what we can do here is we can be like, you got one player, you go to another, you go to another, you go at somebody. So it gets +3/+3. You have an 8, whatever, and then we can ram it through. I like that. We play our 3 mana 3/3. Enters with 2 counters. Yeah, I mean, this is just like basic bread and butter stuff. I like it. I like it. A good example of like what you can do, and you just build a deck for like density of cards that matter rather than trying to find like the best ones, you know? We just want to have as many humans that are like as many playable humans and as many like playable wolves as we can justify, or dogs. And you end up with like a lot of creatures that just end up being totally reasonable. Like this entering as a 3 mana 4/3 vigilance is not bad. Like everything entering with an additional +1/+1 counter is not bad at all. And this thing's also a mana dork and it scales, so I like what this card is doing. All right, again with the Pit Skull. You know, I don't want Pit Skull in my opening hand. All right, we're gonna go with this. 1, 2, 3. A lot of lands. Let's just throw out the Scout. Actually, what we'll do is we'll do it like that, because then he can untap a creature. Boom, untap. And now we can cast our Mana Dork. Doesn't enter with a counter, but don't really care. Borderland Ranger's sweet. We'll save that one. Just get this out there, enter the counter. You know, attack, whatever. We got 2 more mana, so we can ram through. To keep drawing lands. Let's get the Invoker out. Invoker's going to be good here because we're going to be able to activate it next turn if we want to. We'll have 8 mana available. Oh, another land, shoot. Well, that's okay. Let's get the Borderland Ranger. We'll get another land out of our deck. Like, even this doesn't feel like the worst, honestly. Like, we have creatures that are decent size that can engage in combat. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so we've drawn, like, tons of lands, but now we can, like, activate this, give it +5/+5. You know, if this dies, we get a clue. What am I gonna... No, okay, now, guys, we're gonna get creatures. Alright, this is the last one. This is the last one. Got a 1, a 3. This is fine. You know, we've got stuff to do. That card's good. Okay, so turn 1, we're just gonna commune. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're taking the Changeling. As we've seen, the Changelings are sick, and they're all great. So Changelings or Wolves are like what we want to find with these dig spells. You know what? Honestly, let me go back here. Look at let's find some more top 3. Something that's more than 3. 3 is like the baseline here. I want something that looks at 4 or more cards. This is 2 mana. 3 mana for top 5. I don't like that though. 3 mana is expensive. It is an instant though. Kind of like that. Maybe instead of Elven Farsight, we'll just play something that digs a little deeper. Because this can also find a land, Seek the Wilds. This is look at the top 4. Let's say reveal. Abundant Harvest. This card's good, but you know, I'm not the hugest fan. Benefactor of Veronis is 5 mana, top 5. Not what I'm looking for. Not looking for dinosaurs. I mean, this will find us Changelings. But 2 mana for top 5 and mill the rest. We're not playing anything super high mana value, so unfortunately Fierce Empath is not much use to us here, but I love me a Fierce Empath. Of these cards, creature and a land. Yeah, we'll play In the Presence of Ages. I like that card. Gets us creature and a land. And it's 3 mana, but it's an instant, so. And that's really all our spells should be, like interaction, draw, proliferate. We don't really need any fancy effects. There's more cards like this in Presence of Ages, but I don't know if I want to play any more of them. Empath is sweet. Malevolent Rumble's good, but do I want to play Malevolent Rumble? Play Cash Grab. I kind of like these ones that like get me 2 cards and let us see and let us look at the top 4. It's like a good balance of effects, I think. Kind of gives us everything we want. We could probably even cut a land if we wanted to do that. Because we have Mana Dorks and we have these cards that find us lands too. So we'll play, what is it? What was it called? What was it even called? Where was it? Was it over here? No, couldn't have been. What, am I just crazy? Where was it? Relevant Pursuit, there it is. Alright. This is like, these cards are just like divination, but you get to choose the cards. Which is good. Which is good. Vessel of Nascency is pretty good too. What are we at? Did I cut? Yeah, we're at 100 still, okay. Okay, that seems fine. And 756, let's look at lands real quick, see if there's anything I want here. Just like mono green lands. We could probably afford to play some cycling lands. We'll play Path. There's like 11 hits in the deck or something like this for Path of Ancestry, so it seems good enough. I just don't want like a ton of lands entering tapped. It's kind of sucks. I don't really care about Gingerbread Cabin. Probably just be pretty simple, and since we're a monocolor deck, we can play like the Caves, Cave of Temptation, and the other one that adds 1/1 counters. Pay 4, sacrifice it, put 2 counters on something. This card's like pretty good if you aren't like restricted on your colors. Captivating Cave. All right, got a couple minutes here. Gotta wrap this one up. Just gonna finish Tranquil Thicket, and we'll play. Actually, all right, we'll play the Karst and we'll play the Jazzer. Why not? Okay. I think that should do it. I don't really need to do anything else. Like turn Timbergrove, but not gonna do it. Not gonna fall for it. Okay, this is fine. And then we'll just cut some forests down to 100. Okay, great. All right, this is what we're doing with. This is what we're rolling with here. All done. So I'm gonna start wrapping it up. Thank you all for joining me once again. I always love it when you join me. This card is super cool. It asks us to do a lot of cool things. It lets us play a lot of cool cards. This is one that kind of goes on the list of things I might want to build on paper because I love me a Kindred deck and I love mono green, and mono green Kindred decks are super sick. So I'll think about this one. I'll probably iterate on it in some capacity once I have more time to think about it, but I think this is a great first step, good place to start. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We'll do this all over again with a different command. We're not going to do this one again. We're going to do a different one. As always, in the description, you will find a link to this deck list. You'll find a link to the bookmark with all of the deck lists that we've built so far over the last 7 months or so that I've been doing this. You'll also find a link, 2 links, one for the Trevor Project and one for Trans Lifeline, to donate to those organizations, because it is important that people donate money to these organizations if they are able to do so. It seems like there's just more bad news every day. So those links are ever present, and I encourage you all to use them if you're able. But otherwise, thank you for joining me. Again, I really appreciate it, especially Bill with all the cool card suggestions. Yeah, Trevor Project now more than ever, because they're not allowed to. No, Trans Lifeline's not allowed to coordinate with National Suicide Hotline anymore, which is fucking bullshit. But such is the United States of America. America, right? Alrighty, that's all I have to say about that. It's 8 o'clock. Time to go. I'll see you all next week.